and why motorsport race teams don't use cordless. What's the go there?
Oh, look, this comes down to the time you want to develop enough power to undo something that's done up quite tight. So what's interesting is, a supercar in its current form, the wheel nuts are done up to 700 foot-pounds, which actually doesn't sound that much. But if you want to get a wheel nut off in a big hurry, having a tool that only has 1,000 foot-pounds or 1,500 foot-pounds, it doesn't come off in a big hurry. So with air tools, we've developed in that race industry the ability to not put 100 PSI into them or, 7 bar for the metric of us. We feed them with 300 PSI or 20 bar of air. So that accelerates the power massively up.
Yeah.
So a tool, if you want to say, starts its life as a 1,000 foot-pound tool, we generate 3,000 foot-pound and we do it in less than a second.
So what they have are very much custom tools.
Oh, very much so. And a very short life period, because obviously you are asking the absolute, 10/10ths of performance, to get a wheel nut undone that quickly and to get it off. I think the current record's slightly under 3 seconds. Now, considering that the human motion part of that is probably two and a bit seconds, it means the air tool is doing their bit in about half a second undo and do up.
Yeah.
So if you break it down by the finite parts, we've got to develop massive amount. Now, as much as cordless can, create power, by the time we get up to those sort of numbers, you're talking about something that's, right now would be as big as this table.
Yeah,
well, that's
right.
not going to work, is it?
No.
So, the ability of air is the ability to push in power, and we can push it in via a fairly small airline. With a tool, you'd have to have a fairly big battery to get the current to create the power to spin the hammers.
Well, I'll take you on a quick journey back in time and see if you remember this specific tool, because it was during Bathurst that this tool made its debut. And as a wide-eyed about 8 or 9-year-old, I looked at it and I went, that's the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And what it was a pneumatic gun on Bathurst for the wheels. But they hadn't gone centre lock at that stage. They still had 5-stud. And it wasn't, no, I'll pick this one up instead. This is a much better one. So it was about this big. And the guy came out and it had the cord on it, and it had 5 lugs off of it, but it was one gun. And I remember looking at it thinking, that's the most craziest machine I'd ever seen. And he put it on, hit it, and it did all 5 at once. Have you ever seen that thing? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
No, I've it's almost a mythical creature.
Yeah, I looked at it at the time. I've never seen it since. I always thought it was a unicorn.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think it was very reliable. I think that's why it died.
Because it was all floppy and they had to put it in, yeah.
And it's interesting, I don't know if you're a NASCAR fan, but if you watch the NASCAR guys, they still do up until a year or two ago, they still had 5 wheel nuts, undo 5.
Do the nuts go inside?
It's interesting how they do it. It has a locator system for the nut, but they actually glue the nuts to the rim. So when you throw the tyre on, the nuts are in place.
Already sitting there ready to go.
Yeah, they're in place and they're glued to the rim, and they, go on, and then as soon as they hit, they do up. And in their sport, when they undo it, those nuts are used and they're finished. They're done. They're rubbish.
Wow, favourites then. They can start dishing them out.
Yeah, I've even collected a couple myself just for the sake of saying I've got one off such and such a car or whatever.
I've wondered what the magic was. I've never understood the magic of it.
Yeah, and look, those guys, I don't know if you know much about it, but they're paid professionals. The pit crews there, that's their job. And they are, the gun pit crews get employed by the gun teams to do the fastest stops.
Well, one of the reasons I asked you that question was because Formula One, V8 supercars have been great breeding grounds for technology for automotive manufacturers for many years. Is it the same for tools in that environment?
Oh, absolutely. I can put hand on heart and say we started our business in the pit lane, be it the air tool development in some of our bigger air impact wrenches. In fact, you can buy the air impact wrench that we make for supercars in Australia now. You can buy as a standard item to use on your own vehicles. I shouldn't say at home.
Just not as fast as them.
Not quite as fast, and please don't put as much air pressure in, or it'll be back in a matter of minutes for a repair. But that stuff's available, and a lot of the hand tools development has come from there too.
Yeah.
We've developed hand tools over the years, put them into teams, got the great feedback and the constant use, made improvements. And I can only look at even our standard humble combination wrench has evolved over the last 20 years because of feedback from that industry. As much as they're at the pinnacle of the mechanical trade, they're also the pinnacle of, putting stress and, destroying, that's their job virtually.